All right, so the term apostle itself, as we have looked at into the Greek, apostella, the sent out ones. Now, an apostle is specifically a representative. It's somebody who's got the authority to make decisions on behalf of the person who has sent him. It's almost like when you have an ambassador that you send to represent your country. Whatever decisions, whatever things the ambassador said, it's considered that the nation or the country that he belongs to, he has spoken. So in the same way, that's the kind of representative you have as an apostle. It's someone who is sent out, but as a representative to act on behalf. We have examples, but right now we're going to be looking at apostles of the church. Let's just look at an example of two apostles of the church. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 23. It says, "Whereas regards Titus, he is my partner and fellow worker for you, or our brothers. They are apostles of the churches, the glory of Christ." So what does it mean when he's saying they are apostles of the churches? It means they were sent out by the church as a representative of the churches that have sent them. We can see a good example of this in the book of Philippians, Philippians chapter 2, when Paul is talking about Epaphroditus. He says, "But I counted it," this is Philippians chapter 2, verse 25, "But I counted it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, fellow soldier, and your apostle and servant of my need." Epaphroditus was an apostle of the church at Philippi. He's an apostle of the church. He was sent by the church as a representative of the church to minister unto the apostle Paul. So the apostle Paul is saying, he is your apostle to me. So these are what we call apostles of the church. In fact, the word missionary, when we get the word missionary, it was coined from the Latin, and the Latin being called for the Latin word for apostle is the one where we get the word missionary in English. It's the Latin word for apostle that's transliterated into English to become missionary. So the modern day people we call missionaries that are sent out to plant churches and to preach the gospel, and as representative of the church, these are apostles of the churches. Right. These are apostles of the churches. The Apostle Paul makes a good distinction between himself, who was an apostle of Jesus Christ through the Holy Spirit, and these apostles of the churches in Galatians chapter 1. Let's just read. He says, "Paul, an apostle, not sent from men, nor through the agency of men, but through Jesus Christ and God the Father who raised him from the dead." So the apostles like Epaphroditus, who were apostles of the churches, they were apostles of men. They were representatives of men, representatives of churches. They were sent through men and by men, right? And these are what we now call missionaries. Then we have apostles of the Holy Spirit like Paul and Barnabas. And these apostles that are called by the Holy Spirit directly and sent out with a mission, with a commission by the Holy Spirit. He tells them where to go and what to say and what to do. They are sent out by the Holy Spirit with a specific commission, with a specific purpose to do, to be his representatives. So these are the three different types of apostles we just looked at. Foundational apostles. These are the 12. As written in the book of Revelation, there are 12 apostles of the Lamb that were eyewitnesses of the ministry of Jesus from baptism to death to resurrection. Then we have apostles by the Holy Spirit. These are apostles that are chosen after the church has been founded, after the church is already established, after 17 years later, the Holy Spirit begins to choose apostles who are sent out to different places with a specific purpose, a specific commission. They don't send themselves up. They don't just think it's a good idea. There are many preachers, there are many teachers, but these are called apostles because the Holy Spirit spoke to them and sent them out with a specific purpose. Then we have apostles of the churches like Epaphroditus and Titus. We still have these. These are sent out as representatives of the church. These are sent out as representatives of the church. And you can kind of see even the way Paul works is different from the way Peter works. Peter and John, who are there, they were not expounding doctrines. They were representatives of the ministry of Christ on earth, and they gave word for word the things that Christ taught without adding, without subtracting. They were eyewitnesses, they were giving that. Apostle Paul, representative of the Holy Spirit, and what he's doing is he's expounding on the scriptures, expounding on the doctrines, expounding on the things that had been taught and established by Christ, just as the Holy Spirit was said would do. And we still have these kind of apostles being chosen by the Holy Spirit today, and the apostles of the churches.